Henry V. by William Shakespeare. Act I Scene I London, an antechamber in the King's palace. My lord, I'll tell you, that self-bill is urged, which in the 11th year of the lost king's reign was like, and had indeed against us passed, but that the scambling and unquiet time did push it out of farther question. It must be thought on. If it pass against us, we lose the better half of our possession. For all the temporal lands which men devout by testament have given to the church would they strip from us, being valued thus, as much as would maintain, to the king's honour, full 15 earls and 1,500 knights, 6,200 good esquires, and to relief of lazars and weak age, of indigent faint souls past corporal toil, 100 almshouses right well supplied, and to the coffers of the king beside, 1,000 pounds by the year. Thus runs the bill. The causes of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yea, at that very moment consideration, like an angel, came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a sudden scholar made. Never came reformation in a flood, with such a heady currents, scouring faults, nor never hydra-headed wilfulness so soon did lose his seat, and all at once as in this king. Hear him but reason in divinity, and, all admiring with an inward wish, you would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs, you would say it hath been all in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the guardian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter, that when he speaks, the air, a chartered libertine, is still, and the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences, so that the art and practic part of life must be the mistress to this theoric, which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to causes vain, his companies unlettered, rude and shallow, his hours filled up with riots, banquet spots, and never noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration from open haunts and popularity. The strawberry grows underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries thrive and ripen, best neighboured by fruit of bears quality. And so the prince obscured his contemplation under the veil of wildness, which, no doubt, grew like the summer grass, fastest by night, unseen, yet crescive in his faculty. It must be so, for miracles are ceased, and therefore we must needs admit the means how things are perfected. But my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the Commons? Doth his Majesty incline to it, or no? He seems indifferent, or rather swaying more upon our part than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his Majesty, upon our spiritual convocation, and in regard of causes now in hand, which I have opened to his grace at large, as touching France, to give a greater sum than ever at one time the clergy yet did to his predecessors pot withal, with good acceptance of his Majesty, save that there was not time enough to hear, as I perceived his grace would fain have done, the severals and unhidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally to the crown and seat of France derived from Edward, his great-grandfather. The French ambassador upon that instant craved audience, and the hour, I think, is come to give him hearing. Is it 4 o'clock? Then go we in, to know his embassy, which I could with a ready guess declare, before the Frenchmen speak a word of it. Scene room into the same, the presence chamber. Not yet, my cousin, we would be resolved, before we hear him, of some things of weight that task our thoughts, concerning us and France. God and his angels guard your sacred throne, and make you long become it. Sure we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the law salique that they have in France or should not, bar us in our claim, and God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion, rest, or bow your reading, or nicely charge your understanding soul with opening titles miscreate, whose right suits not in native colours with the truth. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your reverence shall incite us to. Therefore take heed how you impugn our person, how you awake our sleeping sod of war. We charge you, in the name of God, take heed. For never two such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood, whose guiltless drops are every one a woe, a saw complaint gainst him, whose wrongs gives edge unto the sods that make such waste in brief mortality. Under this conjuration speak, my lord, for we will hear, note and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience washed as pure as sin with baptism. Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers, that owe yourselves, your lives and services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your highness claim to France but this, which they produce from Pharamond, in terram salicem mulieres ni succedent, no woman shall succeed in Salique land, which Salique land the French unjustly gloss to be the realm of France, and Pharamond the founder of this law and female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Salique is in Germany, between the floods of Sala and of Elbe, where Charles the Great, having subdued the Saxons, they left behind and settled certain French, who, holding in disdain the German women for some dishonest manners of their life, established then this law, to wit, no female should be inheritrix in Salique land, which Salique, as I said, twixt Elbe and Sala, is at this day in Germany called Mason. Then doth it well appear the Salique law was not devised for the realm of France, nor did the French possess the Salique land until 421 years after defunction of King Pharamond, idly supposed the founder of this law, who died within the year of our redemption 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxons, and did seat the French beyond the river Sala, in the year 805. Besides, their writers say, King Pepin, which deposed Childeric, did, as heir general, being descended of Blithild, which was daughter to King Clothaire, make claim and title to the crown of France. Hugh Capet also, who usurped the crown of Charles the Duke of Lorraine, sole heir male of the true line and stock of Charles the Great, to find his title with some shows of truth, though in pure truth it was corrupt and not, conveyed himself as the heir to the Lady Lingaire, daughter to Charlemagne, who was the son to Louis the Emperor, and Louis the son of Charles the Great. Also King Louis X, who was sole heir to the usurper Capet, could not keep quiet in his conscience, wearing the crown of France, till satisfied that fair Queen Isabel, his grandmother, was lineal of the Lady Ermengarde, daughter to Charles the foresaid Duke of Lorraine, by the which marriage the line of Charles the Great was reunited to the crown of France. So that, as clear as is the summer's sun, King Pepin's title and Hugh Capet's claim, King Louis his satisfaction, all appear to hold in right and title of the female, so do the kings of France unto this day. Howbeit, they would hold up this Salique law to bar your highness claiming from the female, and rather choose to hide them in a net than amply to embar their crooked titles usurped from you and your progenitors. The sin upon my head, dread sovereign. For in the book of Numbers is it writ, when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. Gracious Lord, stand for your own. Unwind your bloody flag. Look back into your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread Lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb, from whom you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit and your great uncles, Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy, making defeat on the full power of France, whilst his most mighty father on a hill stood smiling to behold his lions whelp forage in blood of French nobility. O noble English, that could entertain with half their fosses the full pride of France and let another half stand laughing by, all out of work and cold for action. Awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their feats. You are their heir. You sit upon their throne, the blood and courage that renown them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in the very Maimon of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises. Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth do all expect that you should rouse yourself, as did the former lions of your blood. They know your grace hath cause and means and might, so hath your highness. Never king of England had nobles richer and more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France. Oh, let their bodies follow, my dear liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right, in aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never did the clergy at one time bring in to any of your ancestors. We must not only arm to invade the French, but lay down our precautions to defend against the Scot, who will make road upon us with all advantages. They of those marches, gracious sovereign, shall be a wall sufficient to defend our inland from the pilfering borderers. We do not mean the cossing snatches only, but fear the main intendment of the Scot, who hath been still a giddy neighbour to us. For you shall read that my great-grandfather never went with his fosses into France, but that the Scot on his unfurnished kingdom came pouring, like the tide into a breach, with ample and brim fullness of his fosse, galling the gleaned land with hot assays, girdling with grievous siege castles and towns, that England, being empty of defence, hath shook and trembled at the ill neighbourhood. She hath been then more feared than harmed, my liege. For hear her but exampled by herself, when all her chivalry hath been in France, and she a mourning widow of her nobles, She hath herself not only well defended, but taken and impounded as a stray the King of Scots, whom she did send to France, to fill King Edward's fame with prisoner kings, and make her chronicle as rich with praise, as is the ooze and bottom of the sea with sunken wreck, and sumless treasuries. But there's a saying very old and true, if that you will France win, then with Scotland first begin. For once the eagle England being in prey, to her unguarded nest the weasel Scot comes sneaking, and so sucks her princely eggs, playing the mouse in absence of the cat, to tear and havoc more than she can eat. It follows then the cat must stay at home. Yet that is but a crushed necessity, since we have locks to safeguard necessaries, and pretty traps to catch the petty thieves. While that the armed hand doth fight abroad, the advised head defends itself at home. For government, though high and lower, put into pots, doth keep in one consent, congregating in a full and natural close, like music. Therefore doth heaven divide the state of man in divers functions, setting endeavor in continual motion, to which is fixed as an aim or but, obedience. For so work the honeybees, creatures that by a rule in nature teach the act of order to a peopled kingdom. They have a king and offices of sorts, where some, like magistrates, correct at home, others, like merchants, venture trade abroad, others, like soldiers, armed in their stings, make boot upon the summer's velvet buds, which pillage they with merry march bring home to the tentroil of their emperor, who, busied in his majesty, surveys the singing masons building roofs of gold, the civil citizens kneading up the honey, the poor mechanic potters crowding in their heavy burdens at his narrow gate, the sad-eyed justice, with his surly hum, delivering awe to executors pale the lazy yawning drone. I this infer, that many things, having full reference to one consent, may work contrariously, as many arrows, loosed several ways, come to one mark, as many ways meet in one town, as many fresh streams meet in one salt sea, as many lines close in the dial's center. So many 1,000 actions, once afoot, end in one purpose, and be all well borne without defeat. Therefore to France, my liege, divide your happy England into four, whereof take you one quarter into France, and you withal shall make all Gallia shake. If we, with thrice such powers left at home, cannot defend our own daws from the dog, let us be worried and our nation lose the name of haughtiness and policy. Call in the messengers sent from the Dauphin. Exeunt some attendants. Now are we well resolved, and, by God's help and yours, the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, will bend it to our awe, or break it all to pieces. Or there we'll sit, ruling in large and ample empery of France and all her almost kingly dukedoms, or lay these bones in an unworthy urn, tombless, with no remembrance over them. Either our history shall with full mouth speak freely of our acts, or else our grave, like Turkish mute, shall have a tongueless mouth, not worshipped with a waxen epitaph. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king. May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dauphin's meaning and our embassy? We are no tyrant, but a Christian king, unto whose grace our passion is as subject as are our wretches fettered in our prisons. Therefore with frank and with uncurbed plainness tell us the Dauphin's mind. Thus then, in few. Your Highness, lately sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms, in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claim, the Prince our master says that you savour too much of your youth, and bids you be advised there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you, meeter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dauphin speaks. We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will, in France, by God's grace, play a set shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases. And we understand him well, how he comes o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat of England, and therefore, living hence, did give ourself to barbarous license, as 'tis ever common that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dauphin I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France, for that I have laid by my majesty, and plodded like a man for working days, but I will rise there with so full a glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France, yea, strike the Dauphin blind to look on us. And tell the pleasant prince this mock of his, hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand saw-charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many 1,000 widows shall this his mock out of their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down. And some are yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the Dauphin I am coming on, to venge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will savour but of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct, fare you well. Exeunt ambassadors. We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition, for we have now no thought in us but France, save those to God, that run before our business. Therefore let our precautions for these wars be soon collected, and all things thought upon that may, with reasonable swiftness, add more feathers to our wings. For God before will chide this Dauphin at his father's door. Therefore let every man now task his thought, that this fair action may on foot be brought. Exeunt. Flourish. Imprint this ebook is the product of many hours of hard work by volunteers for standard ebooks, and builds on the hard work of other literature lovers made possible by the public domain. This particular ebook is based on a transcription from Project Gutenberg and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The source text and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. They may still be copyrighted in other countries, so users located outside of the United States must check their local laws before using this ebook. The creators of, and contributors to, this ebook dedicate their contributions to the worldwide public domain via the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain Dedication. For full license information, see the uncopyright at the end of this ebook. Standard eBooks is a volunteer-driven project that produces ebook editions of public domain literature using modern typography, technology, and editorial standards, and distributes them free of cost. You can download this and other ebooks carefully produced for true book lovers at Standard Books.org. Prologue for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the pot of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great accompt, on your imaginary fosses work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean pots asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 pots divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of hosses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs aye the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping all times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. Exit. Henry V. by William Shakespeare. Uncopyright may you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you that you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. The United States public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the United States to do almost anything at all with, without having to get permission. Copyright laws are different all over the world, and the source text or artwork in this ebook may still be copyrighted in other countries. If you're not located in the United States, you must check your local laws before using this ebook. Standard ebooks makes no representations regarding the copyright status of the source text or artwork in this ebook in any country other than the United States. Non-authorship activities performed on items that are in the public domain, so-called sweat of the brow, work, Don't create a new copyright. That means that nobody can claim a new copyright on an item that is in the public domain for, among other things, work like digitization, mock-up, or typography. Regardless, the contributors to this ebook released their contributions under the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication, thus dedicating to the worldwide public domain all of the work they've done on this ebook, including but not limited to metadata, the title page, imprint, colophon, this uncopyright, and any changes or enhancements to, or mock-up on, the original text and artwork. This dedication doesn't change the copyright status of the source text or artwork. We make this dedication in the interest of enriching our global cultural heritage, to promote free and libre culture around the world, and to give back to the unrestricted culture that has given all of us so much. Table of Contents Landmarks, Act Roman II Prologue. Now all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now thrive the armourers, and honour's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man. They sell the pasture now to buy the hoss, following the mirror of all Christian kings, with winged heels, as English Mercuries. For now sits expectation in the air, and hides a sod from hilts unto the point with crowns imperial, crowns and coronets, promised to Harry and his followers. The French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. O England, model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart, what mightst thou do, that honour would thee do, were all thy children kind and natural? But see thy fault. France hath in thee found out a nest of hollow bosoms, which he fills with treacherous crowns, and 3 corrupted men, one, Richard Earl of Cambridge, and the second, Henry Laud Scroop of Masham, and the third, Sir Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland, have, for the guilt of France, O guilt indeed, confirmed conspiracy with fearful France, and by their hands this grace of kings must die, if hell and treason hold their promises, ere he take ship for France and in Southampton. Linger your patience on, and will digest the abuse of distance, farce a play. The sum is paid, the traitors are agreed, the king is set from London, and the scene is now transported, gentles, to Southampton. There is the playhouse now, there must you sit, and thence to France shall we convey you safe and bring you back, charming the narrow seas to give you gentle pass. For if we may, we'll not offend one stomach with our play. But till the king come forth, and not till then, unto Southampton do we shift our scene. Exit, scene I London, a street. Base tyke, call'st thou me host? Now, by this hand I swear, I scorn the term, nor shall my knell keep lodges. Solus, egregious dog, O viper vile, the solus in thy most merveillous face, the solus in thy teeth and in thy throat, and in thy hateful lungs, yea, in thy maw purdy, and which is worse, within thy nasty mouth. I do retort the solus in thy bowels, for I can take, and pistol's cock is up, and flashing fire will follow. O braggart vile and damned furious wight, the grave doth gape, and doting death is near. Therefore exhale, an oath of mickle might and fury shall abate. Give me thy fist, thy forefoot to me give, thy spirits a most tall. Couple a gauge, that is the word, I thee defy again. O hound of Crete, think'st thou my spouse to get? No, to the spittle go, and from the powdering tub of infamy fetch forth the lazar kite of Cressid's kind, dull Tiashit she by name, and her a spouse, I have, and I will hold the quondam quickly for the only she. And, Pauca, there's enough. Go to, a noble shalt thou have, and present pay, and liquor likewise will I give to thee, and friendship shall combine, and brotherhood. I'll live by Nym, and Nym shall live by me. Is not this just? For I shall subtly be unto the camp, and profits will accrue. Give me thy hand. Nym, thou hast spoke the right, his heart is fracted and corroborate. Scene Roman II Southampton, a council chamber. How smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms sat, crowned with faith and constant loyalty. The king hath note of all that they intend, by interception which they dream not of. Nay, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he hath dulled and cloyed with gracious favours, that he should, for a foreign purse, so sell his sovereign's life to death and treachery. Now sits the wind fair, and we will abode. My lord of Cambridge and my kind lord of Masham, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us will cut their passage through the fosse of France, doing the execution and the act for which we have in head assembled them? I doubt not that, since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence that grows not in a fair consent with ours, nor leave not one behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on us. Never was monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in hot grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government. True, those that were your father's enemies have steeped their galls in honey and do serve you, with hearts creative duty and of zeal. We therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the office of our hand, sooner than quittance of desert and merit according to the weight and worthiness. So service shall with steeled sinews toil, and labor shall refresh itself with hope, to do your grace incessant services. We judge no less. Uncle of Exeter, in lodge the man committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more advice we pardon him. That's mercy, but too much security? Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind. Sir, you show great mercy, if you give him life, after the taste of much correction. Alas, your too much love and care of me are heavy orisons gainst this poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested, appear before us? Will yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge, Scroop, and Grey, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. And now to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners? I won. My lord, your highness bade me ask for it today. Then, Richard Earl of Cambridge, there is yours, Lord Scroop of Masham, and Sir Knight Grey of Northumberland, this same is yours, read them. And know, I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will abode tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you lose so much complexion? Look ye how they change, their cheeks a paper. Why, what read you there, that have so cowarded and chased your blood out of appearance? I do confess my fault, and do submit me to your highness' mercy. The mercy that was quick in us but late, by your own counsel, is suppressed and killed. You must not dare, for shame, to talk of mercy, for your own reasons turn into your bosoms as dogs upon their masters, worrying you. See you, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters? My Lord of Cambridge here, you know how apt our love was to accord to furnish him with an appurtenance belonging to his honour. And this man hath, for a few light crowns, lightly conspired, and sworn unto the practices of France, to kill us here in Hampton. To the which this knight, no less for bounty bound to us than Cambridge is, hath likewise sworn. But, oh, what shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop? Thou cruel, ingrateful, savage, and inhuman creature, thou that didst bear the key of all my counsels, that knewst the very bottom of my soul, that almost mightst have coined me into gold, wouldst thou have practised on me for thy use? May it be possible that foreign hire could out of thee extract one spark of evil that might annoy my finger? 'Tis so strange, that though the truth of it stands off as gross as black and white, my eye will scarcely see it. Treason and murder, ever kept together, as two yoke devils swan to either's purpose, working so grossly in a natural cause, that admiration did not whoop at them. But thou, gainst all proportion, didst bring in wonder to wait on treason and on murder. And whatsoever cunning fiend it was that wrought upon thee so preposterously, hath got the voice in hell for excellence. And other devils that suggest by treasons do botch and bungle up damnation with patches, colours, and with forms being fetched from glistering semblances of piety. But he that tempted thee bade thee stand up, gave thee no instance why thou shouldst do treason, unless to dub thee with the name of traitor. If that same demon that hath gulled thee thus should with his lion gait walk the whole world, he might return to Vasti tot aback, and tell the legions, I can never win a soul so easy as that Englishman's. Oh, how hast thou with jealousy infected the sweetness of affiance? Show men dutiful? Why, so didst thou. Seem they grave and learned? Why, so didst thou. Come they of noble family? Why, so didst thou. Seem they religious? Why, so didst thou. Or are they spare in diet, free from gross passion or of mirth or anger, constant in spirit, not swerving with the blood, garnished and decked in modest compliment, not working with the eye without the ear, and but in purged judgment trusting neither? Such and so finely bolted didst thou seem, and thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot, to mock the full-fraught man, and best endued with some suspicion. I will weep for thee, for this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. Their faults are open, arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Richard Earl of Cambridge. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Henry Lord Scroop of Masham. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland. Our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your highness to forgive, although my body pay the price of it. For me, the gold of France did not seduce, although I did admit it as a motive the sooner to effect what I intended, but God be thanked for prevention, which I in sufferance heartily will rejoice, beseeching God and you to pardon me. Never did faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of most dangerous treason than I do at this hour joy all myself, prevented from a damned enterprise. My fault, but not my body, pardon, sovereign. God quit you in his mercy? Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our person seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you have sought, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death, the taste whereof, God of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offences. Bear them hence. Exeunt Cambridge, Scroop and Grey, guarded. Now, lauds, for France, the enterprise whereof shall be to you as us like glorious. We doubt not of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way to hinder our beginnings. We doubt not now, but every rub is smoothed on our way. Then forth, dear countrymen, let us deliver our puissance into the hand of God, putting it straight in expedition. Cheerly to see the signs of war advance, no king of England, if not king of France, exeunt. Scene Roman 3 London, before a tavern? No, for my manly heart doth yearn. Bodolph be blithe, Nym, rouse thy vaunting veins, boy, bristle thy courage up, for Falstaff he is dead and we must yearn therefore. Come, let's away. My love, give me thy lips. Look to my chattels and my movables, let senses rule, the word is pitch and pay. Trust none, for oaths are straws, men's faiths are wafer cakes, and hold fast is the only dog. My duck, therefore, Cavito be thy counsellor. Go, clear thy crystals. Yoke fellows in arms, let us to France, like horseleeches, my boys, to suck, the very blood to suck. Scene Roman for France. The King's Palace. Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than carefully it us concerns to answer royally in our defences. Therefore the Dukes of Berry and of Bretagne, of Brabant and of Orleans, shall make forth, and you, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch, to line and new, repair our towns of war with men of courage, and with means defendant. For England, his approaches makes as fierce as waters to the sucking of a gulf. It fits us then to be as provident as fears may teach us out of late examples, left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields. My most redoubted father, it is most meet we arm us gainst the foe. For peace itself should not so dull a kingdom, though no known quarrel were in question, but that defences, musters, preparations, should be maintained, assembled, and collected, as were a war in expectation. Therefore, I say, 'tis meet we all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France, and let us do it with no show of fear. No, with no more than if we heard that England were busied with a Whitsun morris dance. For my good liege, she is so idly kinged, her sceptre so fantastically borne by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorous youth, that fear attends her not. O peace, Prince Dauphin, you are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, how well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in exception, and withal how terrible in constant resolution, and you shall find his vanities fospent were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with a coat of folly, as gardeners do with ordure hide those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate. Well, 'tis not so, my lord high constable, but though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defence 'tis best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems, so the proportions of defence are filled, which of a weak and niggardly projection doth, like a miser, spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth. Think we King Harry strong, and, princes, look you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon us, and he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar paths. Witness our too much memorable shame when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captived by the hand of that black name, Edward, Black Prince of Wales. Whiles that his mountain sire, on mountain standing, up in the air, crowned with the golden sun, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature and deface the patents that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. This is a stem of that victorious stock, and let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him. Ambassadors from Harry King of England do crave admittance to your majesty. We'll give them present audience. Go, and bring them. Exeunt messenger and certain lauds. You see this chase is hotly followed, friends. Turn head and stop pursuit, for coward dogs most spend their mouths when what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good my sovereign, take up the English shot, and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting. From him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you, in the name of God Almighty, that you divest yourself, and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of heaven, by law of nature and of nations, long to him and to his heirs, namely, the crown and all wide-stretched honours that pertain by custom and the ordinance of times unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister nor no awkward claim, picked from the wormholes of long-vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked, he sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative, willing you overlook this pedigree, and when you find him evenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held from him the native and true challenger. Bloody constraint, for if you hide the crown even in your hearts, there will he rake for it. Therefore in fierce tempest is he coming, in thunder and in earthquake, like a Jove, that, if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you, in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls for whom this hungry war opens his vasty jaws, and on your head turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the pining maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers, that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message, unless the Dauphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greeting too. For us, we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother of England. For the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England? Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that may not misbecome the mighty sender, doth he prize you at. Thus says my king, and if your father's highness do not, in grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you to so hot an answer of it, that caves and womby voltages of France shall chide your trespass, and return your mock in second accent of his ordinance. Say, if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England. To that end, as matching to his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris balls. He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it, were it the Mistress Scott of mighty Europe. And be assured, you'll find a difference, as we his subjects have in wonder found, between the promise of his greener days and these he masters now. Now he weighs time even to the utmost grain, that you shall read in your own losses, if he stay in France. Dispatch us with all speed, lest that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he is footed in this land already. You shall be soon dispatched with fair conditions. A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence. Flourish. Exeunt. Act Roman 3 Prologue. Thus with imagined wing our swift scene flies in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Hampton Pier embark his royalty, and his brave fleet with silken streamers the young Phoebus fanning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold upon the hempen tackle ship boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threadened sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Oh, do but think you stand upon the rivage and behold a city on the inconstant billows dancing. For so appears this fleet majestical, holding due cost to Hoffler. Follow, grapple your minds to sternage of this navy, and leave your England as dead midnight still, guarded with grandsires, babies, and old women, either past or not arrived to pith and puissance. For who is he, whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair, that will not follow these cold and choice-drawn cavaliers to France? Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Hoffler. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catharine his daughter, and with her, to dowry, some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches, alarum, and chambers go off. And down goes all before them. Still be kind, and eke out our performance with your mind. Exit, Sinai France, before Hoffler. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, I'll close the wall up with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility, but when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger, stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage, Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the pottage of the head like the brass cannon. Let the brow o'erwhelm it as fearfully as doth a galled rock o'erhang and jutty his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof? Fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these pots from morn till even fought and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your posture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the stot. The game's afoot, follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George. Exeunt, alarum and chambers go off, scene room into the same. The plain song is most just, for humours do abound, knocks go and come. God's vassals drop and die, and sword and shield in bloody field doth win immortal fame. And I, if wishes would prevail with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but thither would I hie. As duly, but not as truly, as bird doth sing on bough. Be merciful, great Duke, to men of mould. Abate thy rage, abate thy manly rage, abate thy rage, great Duke. Good Bacchus, bate thy rage, use lenity, sweet Chuck, scene Roman 3 the same. Before the gates, how yet resolves the governor of the town? This is the latest Paul we will admit, therefore to our best mercy give yourselves. Alike to men proud of destruction defy us to our worst. For as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best, if I begin the battery once again, I will not leave the half-achieved Hoffler till in her ashes she lie buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up, and the fleshed soldier, rough and hot of hot, in liberty of bloody hand shall range with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass your fresh fair virgins and your flowering infants. What is it then to me, if impious war, arrayed in flames like to the prince of fiends, do, with his smirched complexion, all fell feats in linked to waste and desolation? What is't to me, when you yourselves are cause, if your pure maidens fall into the hand of hot and fossing violation? What reign can hold licentious wickedness, when down the hill he holds his fierce career? We may as bootless spend our vain command upon the enraged soldiers in their spoil, as send precepts to the Leviathan to come ashore. Therefore, you men of Hoffler, take pity of your town and of your people, whiles yet my soldiers are in my command, whiles yet the cool and temperate wind of grace blows the filthy and contagious clouds of heady murder, spoil and villainy. If not, why, in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier, with foul hand, defile the locks of your shrill shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the silver beards, and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted upon pikes, whiles the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds, as did the wives of Jury at Herod's bloody hunting slaughtermen. What say you? Will you yield, and this avoid, guilty in defense, be thus destroyed? Our expectation hath this day an end. The Dauphin, whom of succours we entreated, returns us that his powers are yet not ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great King, we yield our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of us and ours, for we no longer are defensible. Open your gates. Come, Uncle Exeter, go you and enter Hoffler, there remain, and fortify it strongly gainst the French, use mercy to them all. For us, dear uncle, the winter coming on and sickness growing upon our soldiers, we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Hoffler will we be your guest, tomorrow for the march are we addressed. Flourish. The king and his train enter the town. Scene Roman for the French king's palace. Scene V the same, and if he be not fought withal, my lord, let us not live in France, let us quit all and give our vineyards to a barbarous people. O de vivant, shall a few sprays of us, the emptying of our fathers' luxury, our scions, put in wild and savage stock, spurred up so suddenly into the clouds and overlook their grafters. Normans, but bastard Normans, Norman bastards. Mot de ma vie, if they march along unfought withal, but I will sell my dukedom, to buy a slubbery and a dirty farm in that nookshotten isle of Albion. De batails, where have they this metal? Is not their climate foggy, raw, and dull, on whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale, killing their fruit with frowns? Can sodden water, a drench for serene jades, their barley broth, decoct their cold blood to such valiant heat? And shall our quick blood, spirited with wine, seem frosty? Oh, for honour of our land, Let us not hang like roping icicles upon our houses' thatch, whiles a more frosty people sweat drops of gallant youth in our rich fields. Poor we may call them in their native lauds. By faith and honour, our madams mock at us, and plainly say our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youth to New Star France with bastard warriors. They bid us to the English dancing schools, and teach La Volta's high and swift corantos, saying our grace is only in our heels, and that we are most lofty runaways. Where is Montjoy the herald? Speed him hence, let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes? And with spirit of honour edged more sharper than your swords, hie to the field, Charles de Labreth, High Constable of France, you Dukes of Orleans, Bourbon, and of Berry, Alençon, Brabant, Bar, and Burgundy, Jacques Chatelain, Rambures, Vaudemont, Beaumont, Grandpré, Rousey, and Falconbridge, Foix, Lestrade, Boucicault, and Charleroi, high dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and knights, for your great seats now quit you of great shames. Bah, Harry England, that sweeps through our land with pennons painted in the blood of Hoffler. Rush on his host, as doth the melted snow upon the valleys, whose low vassal seat the Alps doth spit and void his room upon, go down upon him, you have power enough, and in a captive chariot into Rouen bring him our prisoner. This becomes the great. Sorry am I his numbers are so few, his soldiers sick and famished in their march, for I am sure, when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom. Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Montjoy, and let him say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dauphin, you shall stay with us in Rouen. Be patient, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable and princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall. Exeunt. Scene vi the English camp in Picardy. Captain, I thee beseech to do me favours. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well. Bardolph, a soldier, firm and sound of heart and of buxom valour, hath by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands upon the rolling restless stone. Fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him, for he hath stolen a pax and hanged must be, a damned death. Let gallows gape for dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipes suffocate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for pax of little price. Therefore, go speak. The Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cod and vile reproach. Speak, Captain, for his life, and I will thee requite. Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back, and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment. For, to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft and vantage, my people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French, who when they were in health, I tell thee, herald, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march 3 Frenchmen. Yet forgive me, God, that I do brag thus. This your heir of France hath blown that vice in me, I must repent. Go therefore, tell thy master here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk, my army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet, God before, tell him we will come on, though France himself and such another neighbour stand in our way. There's for thy labour, Montjoy. Go, bid thy master well advise himself. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we shall your tawny ground with your red blood discolour. And so, Montjoy, fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this: we would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are we say we will not shun it, so tell your master. We are in God's hands, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge, it now draws toward night. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow bid them march away. Exeunt. Scene Roman 7 the French camp near Agincourt. It is now 2 o'clock, but let me see, by 10 we shall have each 100 Englishmen. Exeunt. Act Roman 4 prologue. Now entertain conjecture of a time, when creeping murmur, and the pouring dark, fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their poly flames each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed, in high and boastful neighs piercing the knight's dull ear, and from the tents the armourers, accomplishing the knights with busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the 3rd hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and overlusty French do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the crippled toddy-gated knight who, like a foul and ugly witch, doth limp so tediously away. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices, by their watchful fires sit patiently, and inly ruminate the morning's danger. and the gesture sad investing lang clean cheeks and wawan coats presenteth them unto the gazing moon, so many horrid ghosts. Oh now, who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent, let him cry, praise and glory on his head. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him. Nor doth he dedicate one jot of colour unto the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks. A largess universal like the sun his liberal eye doth give to every one, thawing cold fear, that mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night, and so our scene must to the battle fly, where, oh for pity, we shall much disgrace with far 5 most vile and ragged foils, right ill-disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be. Exit, seen I the English camp at Agincourt. Gloucester, 'tis true that we are in great danger, the greater therefore should our courage be. Good morrow, brother Bedford, God Almighty? There is some soul of goodness in things evil, would men observingly distill it out. For our bad neighbour makes us early stirrers, which is both healthful and good husbandry. Besides, they are our outward consciences and preaches to us all, admonishing that we should dress us fairly for our end. Thus may we gather honey from the weed, and make a moral of the devil himself. Good morrow, old Sir Thomas Erpingham. A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a churlish turf of France. Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king. 'Tis good for men to love their present pains upon example, so the spirit is eased, and when the mind is quickened, out of doubt, the organs, though defunct and dead before, break up their drowsy grave and newly move, with casted slough and fresh legerity. Lend me thy cloak, Sir Thomas. Brothers both, commend me to the princes in our camp, do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them all to my pavilion. No, my good knight, go with my brothers to my lords of England, I and my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company. Discuss unto me, art thou officer, or art thou base, common, and popular? The king's a bawcock, and a heart of gold, a lad of life, an imp of fame, of parents good, of fist most valiant, I kiss his dirty shoe, and from hot-string I love the lovely bully. What is thy name? Tell him I'll knock his leek about his pate upon St. Davy's day. Though it appear a little out of fashion, there is much care and valour in this Welshman. Upon the king? Let us our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all. O hard condition, twin-born with greatness, subject to the breath of every fool, whose sense no more can feel but his own wringing. What infinite hot seas must kings neglect that private men enjoy? And what have kings that privates have not too, save ceremony, save general ceremony? And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? What kind of God art thou, that sufferest more of mortal griefs than do thy worshippers? What are thy rents? What are thy comings in? O ceremony, show me but thy worth. What is thy soul of adoration? Art thou aught else but place, degree and form, creating awe and fear in other men, wherein thou art less happy being feared than they in fearing? What drink'st thou oft instead of homage sweet, but poisoned flattery? O, be sick, great greatness, and bid thy ceremony give thee cure? Think'st thou the fiery fever will go out with titles blown from adulation? Will it give place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou command'st the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream, that placed so subtly with a king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the balm, the sceptre and the ball, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the intertissued robe of gold and pearl, the fast title running for the king, the throne he sits on, nor the tide of pomp that beats upon the high shore of this world, no, not all these, thrice gorgeous ceremony, not all these, laid in bed majestical, can sleep so soundly as the wretched slave, who with a body filled and vacant mind gets him to rest, crammed with distressful bread. Never sees horrid night, the child of hell, but like a lackey, from the rise to set sweats in the eye of Phobos, and all night sleeps in Elysium. Next day off to dawn, doth rise and help Hyperion to his house, and follows so the ever-running year, with profitable labour, to his grave. And but for ceremony, such a wretch, winding up days with toil and nights with sleep, had the forehand advantage of a king. The slave, a member of the country's peace, enjoys it, but in gross brain little what's what watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose hours the peasant best advantages. My lord, your nobles, jealous of your absence, seek through your camp to find you. Good old knight, collect them all together at my tent. I'll be before thee. O God of battles, steel my soldiers' hearts, possess them not with fear. Take from them now the sense of reckoning, if the opposed numbers pluck their hearts from them. Not today, O Lord, oh, not today. Think not upon the fault my father made in compassing the crown. I Richard's body have interred new, and on it have bestowed more contrite tears than from it issued fast drops of blood. 500 poor I have in yearly pay, who twice a day their withered hands hold up toward heaven, to pardon blood. And I have built 2 chantries, where the sad and solemn priests sing still for Richard's soul. More will I do, though all that I can do is nothing worth, since that my penitence comes after all, imploring pardon. My brother Gloucester's voice? I know thy errand, I will go with thee. The day, my friends and all things stay for me. Exeunt. Scene room into the French camp. Mount them, and make incision in their hides that their hot blood may spin in English eyes, and doubt them with superfluous courage, ha? What, will you have them weep our horses' blood? How shall we then behold their natural tears? To hoss, you gallant princes, straight to hoss. Do but behold yon poor and starved band, and your fair show shall suck away their souls, leaving them but the shales and husks of men. There is not work enough for all our hands, scarce blood enough in all their sickly veins to give each naked curtlax a stain, that our French gallants shall today draw out, and sheathe, for lack of spot. Let us but blow on them, the vapor of our valor will aught earn them. 'Tis positive gainst all exceptions, lauds, that our superfluous lackeys and our peasants, who in unnecessary actions swam about our squares of battle, were enough to purge this field of such a hilding foe, though we upon this mountain's basis by took stand for idle speculation, but that our honours must not. What's to say? A very little let us do, and all is done. Then let the trumpets sound the tucket sonnets and the note to mount, for our approach shall so much dare the field that England shall crouch down in fear and yield. Why do you stay so long, my lords of France? Yond island carrions, desperate of their bones, ill-favouredly become the morning field. Their ragged curtains poorly are let loose, and our air shakes them passing scornfully. Big Maws seems bankrupt in their beggared host, and faintly through a rusty beaver peeps, the hossmen sit like fixed candlesticks, with touch staves in their hand, and their poor jades lob down their heads, drooping the hides and hips, the gum downroping from their pale dead eyes, and in their pale dull mouths the gimel bit lies foul with chewed grass, still and motionless. And their executors, the knavish crows, fly o'er them, all impatient for their hour. Description cannot suit itself in words to demonstrate the life of such a battle in life so lifeless as it shows itself. Shall we go send them dinners and fresh suits and give their fasting hosses provender and off to fight with them? I stay but for my guidon, to the field? I will the banner from a trumpet take and use it for my haste. Come away, the sun is high and we outwear the day. Exeunt. Scene room in 3 the English camp. God's arms strike with us, 'tis a fearful odds. God be why you princes all, I'll to my charge. If we no more meet till we meet in heaven, then, joyfully. My noble Lord of Bedford, my dear Lord Gloucester, and my good Lord Exeter, and my kind kinsmen, warriors all, adieu, farewell, kind Lord, fight valiantly today, and yet I do thee wrong to mind thee of it, for thou art framed of the firm truth of valour. Exit Salisbury. He is as full of valour as of kindness, princely in both. Oh, that we now had here but 10,000 of those men in England that do no work today. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland, no, my fair cousin, if we are mocked to die, we are eno to do our country loss, and if to live, the fewer men, the great a share of honour. God's will? I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my cause, wish not a man from England, God's peace? I would not lose so great an honour as one man more, methinks, would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day, and comes safe home, will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day, and see old age, will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours, and say, Tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, "These wounds I had on Crispian's day." Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. My sovereign laud, bestow yourself with speed. The French are bravely in their battles set, and will with all expedients charge on us. God's will? My liege, would you and I alone, without more help, could fight this royal battle? Why, now thou hast unwished 5,000 men, which likes me better than to wish us one. You know your places, God be with you all. Once more I come to know of thee, King Harry, if for thy ransom thou wilt now compound, before thy most assured overthrow, for certainly thou art so near the gulf, thou needs must be ingleted. Besides, in mercy, the constable desires thee thou wilt mind thy followers of repentance, that their souls may make a peaceful and a sweet retire from off these fields, where wretches, their poor bodies must lie and fester. I pray thee, bear my former answer back, bid them achieve me, and then sell my bones. Good God, why should they mock poor fellows thus? The man that once did sell the lion's skin while the beast lived was killed with hunting him. A many of our bodies shall no doubt find native graves, upon the which, I trust, shall witness live in brass of this day's work. And those that leave their valiant bones in France, dying like men, though buried in your dunghills, they shall be famed. For there the sun shall greet them, and draw their honours reeking up to heaven. Leaving their earthly pots to choke your clime, the smell whereof shall breed a plague in France. Mock then abounding valour in our English, that being dead, like to the bullets grazing, break out into a second cause of mischief, killing in relapse of mortality. Let me speak proudly. Tell the constable we are but warriors for the working day. Our gayness and our guilt are all besmirched with rainy marching in the painful field. There's not a piece of feather in our host. Good argument, I hope we will not fly. And time hath won us into slovenry, but by the mass our hearts are in the trim, and my poor soldiers tell me, yet ere night they'll be in fresher robes, or they will pluck the gay new coats o'er the French soldiers' heads and turn them out of service. If they do this, as if God please they shall, my ransom then will soon be levied. Herald, save thou thy labour. Come thou no more for ransom, gentle herald. They shall have none, I swear, but these my joints, which if they have as I will leave 'em them, shall yield them little, tell the constable. I shall, King Harry, and so fare thee well. Thou never shalt hear herald any more. Exit, my lord. Most humbly on my knee I beg the leading of the vowed. Take it, brave York. Now, soldiers, march away, and how thou pleasest, God dispose the day. Exeunt. Scene Roman for the field of battle. O Signior Dew should be a gentleman, perpend my words, O Signior Dew, and mock. O Signior Dew, thou deest on point of fox, except, O Signior, thou do give to me egregious ransom. Moy shall not serve, I will have fought Moys, or I will fetch thy rim out at thy throat in drops of crimson blood. Brass, cur? Thou damned and luxurious mountain goat, offest me brass, say'st thou me so? Is that a ton of Moys? Come hither, boy, ask me this slave in French what is his name. Owie, couple gauge permafoy peasant, unless thou give me crowns, brave crowns, all mangled shalt thou be by this my sod. Tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take. Scene V another pot of the field of battle. Mot de ma vie, all is confounded all, reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our plumes. O méchante fortune, do not run away, a shot alarum. O perdurable shame, let's stab ourselves. Be these the wretches that we played at dice for? Shame and eternal shame, nothing but shame, let's die in honour, once more back again, and he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go hence and with his cap in hand, like a base panda, hold the chamber door whilst by a slave, no gentler than my dog, his fairest daughter is contaminated. Disorder that hath spoiled us, friend us now. Let us on heaps go offer up our lives. We are enough yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs, if any order might be thought upon. The devil take order now, I'll to the throng, let life be shot, else shame will be too long. Exeunt. Scene VI another pot of the field. Well have we done, thrice valiant countrymen, but all's not done, yet keep the French the field. Lives he, good uncle? Thrice within this hour I saw him down, thrice up again, and fighting, from helmet to the spur all blood he was. In which array, brave soldier, doth he lie, lauding the plain, and by his bloody side, yoke-fellow to his honour-owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York, all haggled over, comes to him, where in gaw he lay ensteeped, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloodily did yawn upon his face. He cries aloud, Tarry, my cousin Suffolk. My soul shall thine keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine, then fly abreast, as in this glorious and well-foughten field we kept together in our chivalry. Upon these words I came and cheered him up. He smiled me in the face, wrought me his hand, and with a feeble gripe says, Dear my lord, commend my service to my sovereign. So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm and kissed his lips, and so espoused to death, with blood he sealed a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced those waters from me which I would have stopped, but I had not so much of man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes and gave me up to tears. I blame you not, for hearing this, I must perforce compound with mistful eyes, or they will issue too. Alarm. But hark, what new alarum is this same? The French have reinforced their scattered men, then every soldier kill his prisoners, give the word through. Exeunt. Scene Roman 7. Another part of the field. I was not angry since I came to France until this instant. Take a trumpet, herald, ride thou unto the horsemen on yond hill. If they will fight with us, bid them come down, or void the field. They do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, we will come to them, and make them scurr away, as swift as stones enforced from the old Assyrian slings. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them so. How now? What means this, herald? Know'st thou not that I have fined these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for ransom? No, great king, I come to thee for charitable license, that we may wander o'er this bloody field to book our dead, and then to bury them, to sot our nobles from our common men. For many of our princes, woe the while, lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood. So do our vulgar drench their peasant limbs in blood of princes, and their wounded steeds fret fetlock deep in gaw, and with wild rage yerk out their armed heels at their dead masters, killing them twice. Oh, give us leave, great king, to view the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies. I tell thee truly, herald, I know not if the day be ours or no, for yet a many of your horsemen peer and gallop o'er the field. Praised be God, and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by? Then call we this the field of Agincourt, fought on the day of Crispin Crispianus. I wear it for a memorable honour, for I am Welsh, you know, good countrymen. God keep me so. Our heralds go with him. Bring me just notice of the numbers dead on both our parts. Call yonder fellow hither. Points to Williams. Exeunt heralds with Montjoy. My lord of Warwick and my brother Gloucester follow Fluellen closely at the heels. The glove which I have given him for a favour may haply purchase him a box oth ear. It is the soldier's. I by bargain should wear it myself. Follow, good cousin Warwick, if that the soldier strike him, as I judge by his blunt bearing he will keep his word, some sudden mischief may arise of it, for I do know Fluellen valiant and touched with choler, hot as gunpowder, and quickly will return an injury, follow, and see there be no harm between them. Go you with me, uncle of Exeter, exeunt. Scene Roman 8 before King Henry's pavilion. Give me thy glove, soldier. Look, here is the fellow of it. 'Twas I, indeed, thou promisedst to strike, and thou hast given me most bitter terms. Here, Uncle Exeter, fill this glove with crowns, and give it to this fellow. Keep it, fellow, and wear it for an honour in thy cap till I do challenge it. Give him his crowns, and, captain, you must needs be friends with him. Charles Duke of Orleans, nephew to the king, John Duke of Bourbon, and Lord Boucicault, of other lords and barons, knights and squires, full 1,500, besides common men. This note doth tell me of 10,000 French that in the field lie slain, of princes in this number, and nobles bearing banners. There lie dead 126. Added to these, of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400, of the which 500 were but yesterday dubbed knights, so that, in these 10,000 they have lost, there are but 1,600 mercenaries. The rest are princes, barons, lords, knights, squires, and gentlemen of blood and quality. The names of those there nobles that lie dead: Charles de Labreth, High Constable of France; Jacques of Chatelain, Admiral of France; the Master of the Crossbows, Lord Rambiers, Great Master of France; the brave Sir Gitchard Dolphin; John, Duke of Alençon; Antony, Duke of Brabant, the brother to the Duke of Burgundy; and Edward, Duke of Bar. Of lusty earls, Grandpré and Rousey, Fauconberg and Foix, Beaumont and Maule, Vaudemont and Lestrade. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of our English dead? Harold shows him another paper. Edward the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Ketley, Davy Gam, Esquire, none else of name, and of all other men but 25. O God, thy arm was here, and not to us but to thy arm alone ascribe we all. When, without stratagem, but in plain shock and even play of battle, was ever known so great and little loss on one part and on the other? Take it, God, for it is none but thine. Come, go we in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host to boast of this, or take that praise from God which is his only. Yes, captain, but with this acknowledgment that God fought for us. Do we all holy rites, let there be sung non nobis and Te Deum, the dead with charity enclosed in clay, and then to Calais, and to England then, where ne'er from France arrived more happy men. Exeunt. Act V. Prologue. Vouchsafe to those that have not read the story, that I may prompt them, and of such as have, I humbly pray them to admit the excuse of time, of numbers and due course of things, which cannot in their huge and proper life be here presented. Now we bear the king toward Calais, grant him there scene, heave him away upon your winged thoughts athwart the sea. Behold, the English beach pales in the flood with men, with wives and boys, whose shouts and claps outvoice the deep-mouthed sea, which like a mighty whiffle faw the king seems to prepare his way. So let him land, and solemnly see him set unto London. So swift a pace hath thought that even now you may imagine him upon Blackheath, where that his lords desire him to have borne his bruised helmet and his bended sword before him through the city. He forbids it, being free from vainness and self-glorious pride, giving full trophy, signal and ostent quite from himself to God. But now behold, in the quick forge and working house of thought, how London doth pour out her citizens. The mayor and all his brethren in best sought, like to the senators of the antique Rome, with the plebeians swarming at their heels, go forth and fetch their conquering Caesar in, as, by a lower but loving likelihood, were now the general of our gracious empress, as in good time he may, from Ireland coming, bringing rebellion broached on his sod, how many would the peaceful city quit to welcome him? Much more, and much more cause did they this harry. Now in London place him. As yet the lamentation of the French invites the King of England's stay at home, the Emperor's coming in behalf of France, to aught a peace between them, and omit all the occurrences, whatever chanced, till Harry's back return again to France. There must we bring him, and myself have played the interim, by remembering you 'tis past. Then brook abridgment, and your eyes advance after your thoughts straight back again to France. Exit, Sinai France, the English camp. Ha, art thou Bedlam? Dost thou thirst, base Trojan, to have me fold up Paca's fatal web? Hence, I am qualmish at the smell of leek. Doth fortune play the huswife with me now? News have I that my doll is dead, I the spittle of malady of France, and that my rendezvous is quite cut off. Old I do wax, and from my weary limbs honor is cudgelled. Well, bought I'll turn, and something lean to cut purse of quick hand. To England will I steal, and there I'll steal, and patches will I get unto these cudgelled scars, and swear I got them in the Gallia wars. Exit. Scene room into France, a royal palace. Peace to this meeting, wherefore we are met, unto our brother France, and to our sister, health and fair time of day, joy and good wishes to our most fair and princely cousin Catharine, and, as a branch and member of this royalty, by whom this great assembly is contrived, we do salute you, Duke of Burgundy, and princes French and peers, health to you all. Right joyous are we to behold your face, most worthy brother England, fairly met, so are you, princes English, every one. So happy be the issue, brother England, of this good day, and of this gracious meeting, as we are now glad to behold your eyes, which hitherto have borne in them against the French, that met them in their bent, the fatal balls of murdering basilisks, the venom of such looks, we fairly hope, have lost their quality, and that this day shall change all griefs and quarrels into love. My duty to you both, on equal love, great kings of France and England, that I have labored with all my wits, my pains and strong endeavors, to bring your most imperial majesties unto this bar and royal interview, your mightiness on both parts best can witness. Since then my office hath so far prevailed that, face to face and royal eye to eye, you have congregated. Let it not disgrace me, if I demand, before this royal view, what rub or what impediment there is. Why that the naked, poor and mangled peace, dear nurse of aughts, plenties and joyful births, should not in this best garden of the world our fertile France, put up her lovely visage. Alas, she hath from France too long been chased, and all her husbandry doth lie on heaps, corrupting in it own fertility. Her vine, the merry cheerer of the hot unpruned dies, her hedges even pleached, like prisoners wildly overgrown with hair, put forth desodded twigs. Her fallow leaves the darnel, hemlock, and rank fumitory doth root upon, while that the coulter rusts that should deracinate such savagery. The even mead that erst brought sweetly forth the freckled cowslip, burnet, and green clover, wanting the scythe, all uncorrected, rank, conceives by idleness, and nothing teems but hateful docks, rough thistles, kexies, burrs, losing both beauty and utility. And as our vineyards, fallows, meads, and hedges, defective in their natures, grow to wildness, even so our houses and ourselves and children have lost, or do not learn for want of time, the sciences that should become our country, but grow like savages. As soldiers will that nothing do but meditate on blood, to swearing and stern looks, diffused attire, and everything that seems unnatural, which to reduce into our form of favor you are assembled. And my speech entreats that I may know the let, why gentle peace should not expel these inconveniences, and bless us with her former qualities. If, Duke of Burgundy, you would the peace, whose want gives growth to the imperfections which you have cited, you must buy that peace with full accord to all our just demands, whose tenors and particular effects you have enscheduled briefly in your hands. The king hath heard them, to the which as yet there is no answer made. Well then, the peace which you before so urged lies in his answer. I have but with a cursory eye auglanced the articles. Pleaseth your grace to appoint some of your council presently to sit with us once more, with better heed to resurvey them, we will suddenly pass our accept and peremptory answer. Brother, we shall go, Uncle Exeter, and Brother Clarence, and you, Brother Gloucester, Warwick, and Huntington, go with the king, and take with you free power to ratify, augment, or alter, as your wisdom's best shall see advantageable for our dignity, anything in or out of our demands, and will consign thereto. Will you, fair sister, go with the princes, or stay here with us? Our gracious brother, I will go with them. Haply a woman's voice may do some good, when articles too nicely urged be stood on. Yet leave our cousin Catharine here with us, she is our capital demand, comprised within the forerank of our articles. Fair Catharine, and most fair, will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as will enter at a lady's ear, and plead his love suit to her gentle heart? The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and then in sequel all, according to their firm proposed natures. Nor this I have not, brother, so denied, but our request shall make me let it pass. I pray you then, in love and dear alliance, let that one article rank with the rest, and thereupon give me your daughter. Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise up issue to me, that the contending kingdoms of France and England, whose very shaws look pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, and this dear conjunction plant neighborhood and Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms, that never war advance his bleeding sod twixt England and fair France. Now, welcome Kate, and bear me witness all, that here I kiss her as my sovereign queen. Flourish. God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your hearts in one, your realms in one. As man and wife, being two, are one in love, so be there twixt your kingdoms such a spousal, that never may ill office, or fell jealousy, which troubles oft the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the paction of these kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league, that English may as French, French Englishmen, receive each other. God speak this Amen, prepare we for our marriage, on which day my Lord of Burgundy will take your oath and all the peers for surety of our leagues. Then shall I swear to Kate and you to me, and may our oaths well kept and prosperous be? Senate, exeunt. Colof and Henry Vey was published in 1620 by William Shakespeare. This ebook was produced for Standard eBooks by B. Timothy Keith, and is based on a transcription produced in 1998 by the PG Shakespeare team for Project Gutenberg and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The cover page is adapted from Morning of the Battle of Agincourt, a painting completed in 1884 by John Gilbert. The cover and title pages feature the League Spartan and Sots Mill Gaudy typefaces created in 2014 and 2009 by the League of Movable Type. This edition was released on November 7, 2024, 8:56 p.m., and is based on revision E43D 330. The first edition of this ebook was released on August 16, 2019, 11:11 p.m. You can check for updates to this ebook, view its revision history, or download it for different e-reading systems at standardbooksorg/ebooks/William Shakespeare/Henry V. The volunteer-driven Standard eBooks project relies on readers like you to submit typos, corrections, and other improvements. Anyone can contribute at standard booksog. Dramatis Personae King Henry v. Duke of Gloucester, brother to the King Duke of Bedford, brother to the King Duke of Exeter, uncle to the King Duke of York, cousin to the King Earls of Salisbury, Westmoreland, and Warwick Archbishop of Canterbury, Bishop of Ely, Earl of Cambridge, Laud Scroop, Sir Thomas Grey, Sir Thomas Erpingham, Gower, Fluellen, Macmorris, Jamie. Officers in King Henry's army: John Bates, Alexander Cott, Michael Williams. Soldiers in the same pistol: Nim, Bardolph Boy, a herald: Charles Vi, King of France: Louis, the Dauphin, Dukes of Burgundy, Orleans, Bourbon, the Constable of France: Rambures and Grandpré, French Lords Governor of Harfleur, Montjoy, a French herald: ambassadors to the King of England: Isabel, Queen of France: Catherine, daughter to Charles and Isabel: Alice, a lady attending on her hostess of a tavern in Eastcheap, formerly Mistress Nell Quickly, and now married to pistol lords, ladies, officers, soldiers, citizens, messengers, and attendants. Chorus scene: England, afterwards France. Epilogue: thus far, with rough and all-unable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story, in little room confining mighty men, mangling by starts the full course of their glory. Small time, but in that small most greatly lived this Star of England. Fortune made his sod, by which the world's best garden he achieved, and of it left his son imperial laud. Henry the Sixth, in infant bands crowned King of France and England, did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing, that they lost France and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown, and for their sake, in your fair minds let this acceptance take. Exit.